What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Bull Season 3, Episode 20, The Good One. Apologies if you can hear my laptop running. It's like right next to the tablet, and it's just really loud right now for some reason. I don't know why. Anyways, but yeah, this episode, interesting premise, and I feel like there were some missed opportunities that would have made it even better, but this was a good episode. It was a good return, I felt like, to something that would at least capture my interest. Because I felt like for a large majority of this season, it feels like it sort of lost me somewhere along the way. And I really don't know whether that's down to they just fell off somewhere, like they lost ideas. I don't know what was going on. It could just be that it's a show that is not meant to be binge watched, like from a critical point of view, because it's something that could be just an enjoyable show. Like if you're not really watching to critique, or if you're watching it every week, it might be a show that could keep your interest and could, you know, be enjoyable. But as it stands, like binge watching it and trying to critique it as well, I feel like there are just a lot of missed opportunities and a lot of missed episodes, where they just didn't really make the best decisions. This one, it was good, and I enjoyed the whole premise. I enjoyed the idea of there's one son in this criminal family that he's trying to make a better life for himself, but then he gets caught up in this whole thing where his brother kills the judge to save his dad from going to jail for the rest of his life. That's an interesting premise, and I really like that. However, a couple things I feel like would have made this a lot better. First of all, I feel like this would have been a great first or second episode of a season, and this family maybe be a bit more involved as the season goes on, because that final conversation that Bull has with the mother at the end of the episode, I feel like would be a great holy crap, like I wonder if they're going to come back this season. I wonder if we're going to see them again this season. And maybe have them pop up in an episode or two like throughout the season, and then maybe have the season finale be about them. But the problem is one, it's near the end of the season, so they might come back again, but I don't think it's going to be anytime soon. The fact that you killed off the brother means that we don't have to see him ever again. It'll just be pretty much probably dealing with the mother, maybe, because the father is still in prison and he's clearly going to jail for the rest of his life, so he's not going to be getting out anytime soon. So the mom seems to be like a little bit devious as well, so she might come back as a villain at some point, or maybe they have to represent her for some reason. I don't know. But it's an interesting family dynamic to have, and I feel like they just sort of used it all up in this one episode when they could have probably stretched it out over a few, like throughout a season. So I felt like that was a bit of a missed opportunity, but not anything terrible. Just in my mind, I was thinking, especially at the end with that final conversation, it felt like I want to see more of this. I want to see them either having to go against this family or having to work with them for some reason and having to deal with that. Because it is an interesting thing. The other thing I felt like could have been done better to make this episode better is there just some moments that I felt like were not really handled all that well. The first one I'm thinking of is the judge. The judge that's taking their case, not the one that died. At the beginning, she like basically shuts Benny off like instantly, and we've dealt with the idea of having to represent somebody that the jury, just doesn't like, and clearly there's going to be a bit of bias because unless they just completely live under a rock, they know who the defendant is, or we've dealt with that before. But how do you deal with a biased judge? Problem is that didn't ever come up again. It was just that opening thing. She would just like shut Benny down. She's like, no, and then we never dealt with it again. I thought there were going to be a few moments where Benny was like trying to pull something like he normally does, and then she like shuts him down and basically says you're done, like you can't continue your cross-examination because of it. I thought that was going to be a running storyline, but it just stopped after that one scene. I was like, okay, that was weird. Because it really is kind of an interesting idea of what do you do when even the judge is biased against your client, so she's not letting you do your job as a defense attorney. She's constantly shutting you down every single time you try to like show your side of the story. The other thing that I felt like was kind of wasted as a storyline was just everything to do with this idea of the brother being the victim in this scenario. Like, I like the idea of them having to do kind of a separate defense team. but then they shut that down early, but then brought it back, but then the brother died, so it was already done. And then on top of that, like, as soon as they find a witness, all of a sudden the jury just turns against them completely. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, what? Like, how does finding an eyewitness that proves your client is innocent get the jury to say, oh no, he's clearly guilty? Like, I didn't understand that. And then on top of that, I felt like the father too could have been utilized better at the end. I felt like they got him on the stand, which I think was an interesting concept. But then he gets up there and he starts talking about, like, oh yeah, he's a good kid and, he's going to be a doctor and I'm proud of him for that. Like, I don't understand it, but I'm proud of it. I feel like it would have been more interesting to actually have him continue to be the evil person that he's shown to be and basically get up there and defend his son in his own way by basically saying, yeah, I'm not even proud of him. Like, I don't understand why he would become a doctor. Like, I've never understood him as my son. Like, I don't even think he's my son. That's how much I don't understand him. Like, I don't know. I feel like that scenario could have been a lot more interestingly written, in my opinion. I feel like they could have done more with the idea of a father who is such a criminal mastermind dealing with the fact that one of his sons is not going into the family business. And how does that affect him? And what is his opinion of that? As I imagine he would probably be pretty disappointed to have a son who's basically a stand-up citizen. Like, why? You're not my son. I don't know. It would have been pretty mean-spirited, but it would have, I feel like, it would have been more realistic. It would have been more interesting for them to take. And I feel like that would have probably pushed the jury to be like, wow, like, that must suck to have that be your dad. And even though you're doing everything you can to be a model citizen and go and become a doctor and go to college, he's disappointed in you because you're not a criminal. Like, that's gotta suck. But they didn't do that. They basically just made the dad get up there and defend his son and be like, yeah, I'm proud of him. And, I've never really understood him, but he's a good guy and all this stuff. And it felt kind of sappy and unrealistic, in my opinion, because of who the father was shown to be. So, overall, like, it was a more interesting episode. It was more enjoyable. But they still missed a lot of opportunities, in my opinion, to make it more interesting. And a lot of that just comes down to the fact that it's a CBS show. They're not going to try to write super interesting, compelling drama because that's not what CBS is. CBS is more of this channel that you go to turn on a show and watch it and just turn off your brain for a little bit. That's what most of the shows are, unfortunately. Occasionally they'll have something dramatic happen, but most of the time, if it's not the season finale or the mid-season finale or the penultimate episode that does the to be continued into the season finale, if it's not that, most of the time it's just not going to be super interesting or super compelling. They'll have a few sprinkled in there, but for the most part it's just going to be kind of a simple episode to understand, and you just sort of follow it, you watch it, and then happy ending, we're all good in the end. And I don't know, I feel like because this is a show that's based on a real science and based around trial science, because not every trial works out for the best. Our justice system is flawed. I feel like this could have been a show that would be much more interesting to show that side of things. And they're just not taking advantage of it. So, anyways, with that being said, on to the next episode. See you there. And now episode 21, When the Rains Come. So this one's fairly straightforward. I feel like I would have been a lot more invested if Taylor had been given more time. But the fact that they just all of a sudden like, hey, here's her sister, and then here's her brother-in-law who's getting on trial, like, I don't know, like, she's not really been involved this season. So I feel as if they didn't really give me a reason to care about Taylor or about her family. And on top of that, they ultimately did make them out to be very despicable people. Like, not super despicable in a way that just you want to kill them and you wish they were going to prison. But at the same time, you don't exactly want them to, I guess, get away with it. Because you do find out that he was dealing in the prison, cell phones, and making money off of it and stuff. So, yeah, I was a little disappointed with how they handled that, just because I do feel like they didn't do a good job of making me care about them. Because I should be, at the end of the episode, feeling as if, yes, we won. Great job. Like the last episode with the kid, I wanted to see that kid get the innocent verdict. I wanted to see him not be found guilty because of the fact that he's a good kid. And I feel like he does deserve to have a good life. But for this one, I didn't feel that at all. Because you find out the reason he went back was not to help his wife and kids, but to go get money. And I understand the idea of, well, but it's money to help with raising the family. Yeah, but you made the money illegally. So why should I care that you're getting found or the charges are getting dropped? Why should I care about that? So I feel like it was just a mistake to make that decision. I get they wanted it to be shocking and stuff, but this is a show where I should be caring about the characters more. So whenever I don't care, whenever I find out that the charges got dropped and he's going to be found innocent, it should make me feel good. And it didn't. I'm just like, okay, good for you, I guess. I mean, it was nice of Bull to suggest, hey, why don't you give that money to the families of the two men who lost their lives? I thought that was a good gesture. I thought that was a nice touch. But aside from that, I didn't really care if they were found innocent or guilty. Like, if he's found guilty, kind of deserves it. He went back for money, not to save his family. So, I don't know, just a lot of it just comes down to the fact that they didn't do a great job with the characters in this episode. Even with Taylor, you haven't done enough to make me care about her this season, so whenever we find out, oh no, her sister's in trouble, I don't really care enough about Taylor yet because you've not given me a reason to, so it would be different if it were Chunk's family or if it was Danny's family, which they've tried to make it emotional with Danny some this season, but it hasn't really worked out because she's not. The people being involved with her are not her family, but some random guy that she just randomly started dating, and then her former boss in the FBI. That's about it. So, I don't know. I guess not terrible, but not good either. It's just sort of average episode overall. And I can't really think of any huge mistakes that were made. Yeah. But anyways, with that being said, on to the final episode of Season 3. See you there. And finally, episode 22, Pillar of Salt. Not gonna lie, a little disappointed with how this season came to an end. Only because I really feel like they could have done something a bit more interesting to really get me excited for next season. And they didn't. They didn't. I mean, I hate to say it. Whew. I don't know why I decided to drink soda like while I'm doing reviews. It's never a good mixture. But the case itself was not all that interesting. You've got mom takes her daughter into ICU. Her daughter dies. Apparently there were bruises on her, which I don't. They never really talked about where those bruises came from. I thought it might be the mother of the girl was actually the one abusing her and not the stepmother. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I do apologize for how awful that is, but set that further away. But yeah, like, never brought up the bruises again. The real mother came in, testified against the stepmother, saying, oh, she did this horrible thing. She put red pepper flake on her tongue, and oh my gosh, it's awful. Turns out it was to stop her from eating lip balm, so that was quickly pushed under the rug. Then they find out apparently she had this condition. I can't remember exact. I think it was called pica, maybe? I don't remember the exact terminology now. But essentially, it was causing her to just eat stuff. Just... I don't know exactly how it all works. I've never heard of it myself. But that's why she was constantly consuming things. Like, she was biting her journal and stuff. And salt apparently is what kind of calms that down. And so that's how she got into the salt. And yeah, that's what happened. And that's just not really that interesting, if I'm being honest. And don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying that I wanted the real mother to be responsible or even the father to be responsible. But it's not interesting for a season finale. Like, there's nothing really there to get me like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. It's just essentially the real mother felt replaced by the stepmother because, the stepmother's like this beautiful... I think she was younger than her, too. So she just felt replaced, and so she wanted to blame the stepmother for it, but the stepmother didn't have anything to do with it, and so they end up reconciling in the end. Meanwhile, also on top of that, Marissa goes in to get herself checked because, possibility of having kids. She's okay, but apparently her husband is not. And instead of telling him that, she just lies to him and says, I don't want kids anymore. Because Bull lying to Benny this episode worked out so well, she thought to herself, hey, I'm going to try it with my husband too, see how that works. But yeah, Benny finds out about Bull and Izzy sleeping together. Izzy is apparently pregnant, which I will say I did know because one of the pictures, like CBS All Access, one of the weird things about it is whenever you go to the Bull page, like even if I just watched season 3 episode something, when I go back to the Bull homepage to click on the next episode, it instantly pulls me back to season 4 again. And every single time it pulled me back to season 4, the picture that I see is Bull and Izzy on the bed, and Izzy's got a little lump. I'm like, okay, so she's going to be pregnant next season. Got it. So yeah, whenever Izzy and her husband get the divorce, I'm thinking to myself, okay, it's because she's pregnant with Bull's baby, and that's what it was. So I got a little spoiled on that, unfortunately. But the problem that I have with this is Bull, it seemed like, was learning from his mistakes this season. He at the beginning of this season, he was dealing with the fact that he had a heart attack. He was drinking too much. He was kind of a dick to his team. And so it seemed like he was learning from that and he was growing as a character. But then this happens. And instead of apologizing to Benny and taking ownership of what he did and the role that he played in Izzy and her husband's relationship ending, yeah, she's an adult. Like, I'm not saying that, oh, well, she has no part to play in this either. But he clearly had fault in this. And instead of it making it seem like, oh, he's learning from his mistakes, oh, he's actually trying to be a good person, he is owning up to what he did to help cause the divorce. Instead of doing any of that, he essentially just said, Benny, come on, like, she's an adult, she kissed me first. Like, he doesn't take any ownership, and instead of the show playing it as in, we're supposed to be like, Bull, what are you doing? Instead, it ends with him and Izzy hooking up, which I still think he and Diana are a better match right now. So I don't know why the show continues. Like, he and Diana seem to reconcile a little bit at the end of the episode, like a few episodes ago with her, and the possibility of a relationship forming there. And then now all of a sudden it's back to Izzy. Just like, make your mind up. Because this is exactly what they did earlier in the season. He and Diana were seemingly starting to hook up, seemingly starting to start an actual relationship. And then he hooks up with Izzy and then cancels Diana's flight. And then we don't hear anything about either of them for a while. And then all of a sudden he's back with Diana again. It seems like maybe they're going to start a relationship back up. And then all of a sudden a few episodes later, it's back to Izzy. And she's pregnant with Bull's baby. And they're hooking up again. Just like, do you just not like Diana as a character? Like, what is going on? What are you trying to tell us? What story are you trying to convey? Because at the end, it almost seems like they're praising Bull for, like, helping Izzy out of that relationship. And guys, look, they're going to be happy. They're going to be a family together. They got the upbeat music playing. And all I'm thinking is, no, I'm not happy for this. First of all, I feel bad for Diana because she's getting gypped again. I feel bad for Benny because ultimately he's being treated like a kid in all of this. And I completely feel like, he's right to be pissed at Bull. Not just for sleeping with his sister, not just for messing up his sister's marriage, but you think about the fact that, one, he slept with his sister at their father's funeral. That's kind of a dick move. And then on top of that, instead of apologizing, he lies to him for a while, and then whenever he finally finds out about it, he's like, Benny, grow up. That's a dick move! And yet the show wants me to feel like, yeah, guys, yeah, Bull, oh yeah, you and Izzy, like, that's the feel that I got that they were trying to showcase at the end of this season. That's not how I felt. So either we're supposed to feel like I feel right now, and the show is just, for some reason, the music choice was not good at the end, but I don't know, I just struggle to comprehend how the writers are dealing with this right now. How are they making these decisions? I don't know. I'm very confused. I feel like this was a horrible decision. One, to hook Bull and Izzy back up. Two, to make him be, father to her being pregnant. And then three, to deal with the whole Benny and Bull situation the way they did. And the thing is, Benny said, I'm done after this case, but I know I've seen a couple of pictures of season 4, like a couple of the screen caps, I guess, of the episode. I've seen a couple of them where Bull and Benny are working together, or at least it looks like they are. So either he's going back on his word, or maybe just for some reason they're in a couple shots together and that's it. But if it just goes like we come back into season 4 and Benny's just all like, okay, you know what, Bull, since you're gonna be, father of my sister's child, I guess I'm gonna be okay with you. It can't be that easy. Like they cannot treat this with this kind of respect or with this little respect. It should be Bull has to own up to his mistakes. Bull has to realize the error of his ways. Bull has to apologize to Benny for everything that happened. Because in my opinion, Benny's in the right and Bull's in the wrong. While I'm on that topic, the whole scene where he tackles Bull to the ground and then decks him in the face while everybody just sort of sits there watching, not doing anything for some reason, not trying to pull him apart, and then they all run to Bull like, oh my gosh, are you okay? I'm like, is he okay? Benny he got the emotional crap kicked out of him just now. And just because he punched Bull in the face and split his lip, you're all like, oh my gosh, Bull, are you okay? Yeah, I get he's your boss, but somebody go check on Benny. Like, oh, God. Again, I don't know if I'm alone here. I don't know if maybe for some reason I sympathize with Benny because I've dealt with cheating in the past, in past relationships, and so everything Bull did, I kind of pissed off at him for all of that. Maybe that's why I'm so frustrated with how this is handled, and maybe other people that aren't as sensitive to that topic are like, no, this is fine. She wasn't happy with her husband. If that's the case, then, poor decision, because you're gonna push some people away with that kind of writing. I'm sorry. But, I don't know. I'm confused. I'm confused as to why they decided to do this, what the thinking was behind it. It's just all really dumb to me. So, all that being said, though, this season overall was okay. It started off pretty good. There were some good episodes. There were some emotional moments throughout the season. But the writing and the characters for me just took a bit of a hit this season. There were just some really weird decisions they made with the main cast and with some of the relationships going on, with some of the decisions, like personal life decisions of the main cast. And then there were just some episodes that didn't really grip my attention and had some really weird moments in it. So all in all, I don't really remember the first and second season all too well. This one, because I just got done watching it, it's sitting a bit more, I guess, prominent in my mind. But I don't remember having this much of an issue with the first and second season. I don't remember being this frustrated with decisions in the first and second season. So I feel like this season has been worse than the first two. And only because I don't remember getting angry. I don't remember getting pissed off by things that happened in the first and second. So maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe I did get pissed and I just forgot about it because I was just like, who cares? But all in all, pretty disappointed. Hopefully season 4 is better. I don't know when I'll get back around to it, honestly, because I've got a lot of other shows to watch, and frankly, I'd prefer to watch something that's going to make me happy now. Bring on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. With that being said, let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on these 3 episodes and the season as a whole? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe, future Bull reviews, and I'll see you guys in the next season. Peace out.